Hey folks, my name is Matthew Wayne Selznick. I'm an author and creator. You can find me over at mattselznick.com. And recently I was surprised to be invited to test out Grammarly. And so I'm doing that. Full disclosure, they're giving me a $100 Amazon gift card for writing a blog post about Grammarly. I thought I would go a step farther and actually do this little video walkthrough. And the thing about this is, I haven't used this yet. I don't really know how it works, how well it works. So this is going to be almost an unboxing video of their service. We're gonna use the service to do two different things. We're going to test it on nonfiction. We're going to use a blog post that I wrote. And we're going to test it on fiction, which I suspect will be a bigger challenge for the system. We're going to test it on a short story that I wrote. So let's dig in. And as you can see, Grammarly bills itself as the world's best grammar checker. This is a for-pay service. We'll get into the pricing and whatnot later. And you can see if you just drop text in to the free version, I'm going to use this blog post here, and I'm just going to get it from my, I've already got it in a text editor. So we're just going to drop this blog post in. What we want to do is see how Grammarly in the free version reacts to check your text. All right, so we're not logged in. We're not paying for this at this point. So check your text. Let's see, checking for all kinds of different things as it goes through. Zip, zip, zip. Cute little interface there. And here we go. So up comes the analysis along with the soft sell. Grammarly found 27 critical writing issues. Weak, needs revision. I love it. The first thing is, this is interesting, they test for plagiarism, looking at the web. So naturally, this blog post is public on the web, so they're going to consider it plagiarized and call it unoriginal text. I like that. I think that's actually good. It's a quick and free way to test and see if something is plagiarized or not. Contextual spelling check, 3 issues. Grammar, 10 issues. Punctuation. And of course, now they want you to actually get a 7-day free trial to find out, what these specific issues are. So what we're going to do is we're going to log in, and they've given me a temporary membership so that I can review all the features and whatnot. So we log in, and right away we see that the interface is completely different. It's more like an app than a website. Okay, that's kind of neat. Microsoft Office download, an add-on that you can add that might be interesting to use their service within Microsoft Office. Okay, well and good. But all right, let's do the exact same thing. Let's take that same piece of text and paste it in. Do I want the web page? Yes. Okay. Oh, it's a much neater copy-paste process. Almost managed to find all my paragraph breaks. This was a blog post so there are some things like this here should have been a heading of a subsection, but whatever. So let's see. Start review. Oh, this is neat. Select a type of paper. I'm going to call this casual, as it's a blog post. But as you can see, you can check different styles of writing, and we will start the review. This is interesting. It's much slower than the free version. I imagine that it's going through a lot more carefully. Wow. This is not a long... Oh, wow. There we go. Okay, so I guess there was some lag on the progress bar, but let's see here. 26 issues found, a score of 78 out of 100. So here's the first one. A mere 20-odd years. So the original sentence section was certainly not a mere 20-odd years of imperial rule. And they say that this might be a problem. They want me to write certainly not mere 20-odd years. Well, that's not right. I'm going to ignore that. It moves on to the next one. They think maybe that weak excuse in this context might require an article in front of it. Again, the context, why does Luke accept Obi-Wan's weak excuse? So they're incorrect about that, but I guess it's nice that they're watching out for it. I guess they don't do cliches, because I did write sort of a cliche here, not beyond the realm of possibility. And they're suggesting, again, at least they say may require an article. They're not flat out saying you should do this. But we're going to ignore that. Same thing. Place should be the place. Now, what's the drop down here? Oh, ignore all. Yeah, we don't want to ignore all, because I want to go through this step by step. Review this sentence for pronoun and verb agreement. All right, this is something different. Ensure that your pronouns are in agreement with your verbs. So the sentence in question, 2 movies later, when Luke calls him out on this, Kenobi glosses it over with, what I told you was true from a certain point of view, and Luke is astonishingly okay with that. I think that sentence makes sense, but I do like that they have this here. Let's take a look at the long explanation. The pronoun you does not agree with the verb was. Yeah, I think that sort of, this doesn't seem to be completely smart on syntax. So we're going to ignore that too. Review this sentence for squinting modifiers. I've never even heard of a squinting modifier, and I get paid to write. Let's see. The modifier in may be defining either clause in your sentence, therefore is a squinting modifier. So they give an example incorrect. While talking in his ear quietly, she slid the money out of his pocket. So I understand that. If it's unclear if quietly is modifying while talking in his ear or she slid the money out of his pocket. So let's see. My sentence, of course, being casual, is all over the place with all kinds of, casual voice. So my sentence was, at the end of Return of the Jedi, a title that says it all, really, and was originally and rightfully to be called Revenge of the Jedi, I believe, the Jedi/light side is in total control of the Force in the galaxy, and their most powerful living member is in a perfect position to build a new Jedi Order with no opposition. Again, a conversational, casual style, I think this makes sense. So we're going to ignore this. I was really hoping that I would have made something really horrible, some sort of problem with this. But so far, I guess I'm all right. I'm going to ignore this. Split infinitives. This one I might buy this one. So let's see here what we're dealing with. Move Obi-Wan Kenobi into the spirit world where he would come to. I see a typo. Where he would become, should be become, more powerful than you could possibly imagine, and be in a position to psychologically manipulate and mentor the conspiracy's puppet. Okay, blah, 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 blah. So how does it want me to fix this? I think this is okay. You know, feel free to correct me in the comments, but this reads like it makes sense. To me, that's the bottom line. Does your writing make sense? Sometimes that trumps grammar, and this might be one of those instances. I feel like I should ignore this again. Review this sentence for subject and verb agreement. The subject of your sentence, the risk of CP3O's memory, is a singular or unaccountable noun. Okay, the sentence again we're talking about here. Bonus. Could the risk of C3PO's memory wipe being imperfect be why the droid was dismantled in the Cloud City during The Empire Strikes Back? I wonder. You know, I guess I could rewrite this. Could the risk of imperfect memory wipe of C3PO? Or could the risk of C3PO's imperfect memory wipe? Yeah, I think this one could have been better. I could have written this better. Okay, we're not going to ignore this one. Review your work for missing verbs. Well, we have to ignore this because I'm quoting dialogue. So all bets are off when you're doing dialogue. You want a second opinion. They think it's a bad verb form use possibility. Again, casual conversational writing, this flies out the window. Review this sentence for commas after introductory phrases. Oh, yes, I agree. I should put, in the summer of 1977, I was 10 years old, comma, and see how that you can actually edit as you go. So I put a comma in there. Yeah, which is what they suggest. And you can even just click the suggestion and they put it in there for you, which is nice. I like that. All right. They want to see here. They want me to put a comma after my little interjection. And then again, casual dialogue, casual writing, that wouldn't make sense. So we're going to ignore that. Here's something where they think maybe I have too many commas. Anakin was not seduced into evil by Palpatine. Oh, sorry, the sentence is Anakin and Yoda and Obi-Wan. Okay, yeah, I could see that. That doesn't need a comma there, but I put one in there for pacing's sake. And so that comes down to style. They don't like the spelling of droid. They think it should be capitalized because I guess now it's a trademark of Google. We can either add that to the dictionary or ignore. I'm going to go ahead and add it to the dictionary. Superhuman, I put a dash between super and human. Let's change it to no dash. Okay. And they're not going to know midi-chlorian, so we'll ignore that one. They caught my become mistake, which is really good. That's the sort of thing that your traditional spell checkers would just think it's the two words, be and come. So it understood the context of that, which is excellent. I really like that. Skywalkers, we're going to ignore because that's a name. We're going to actually ignore all. Story worlds is a word that we're going to add to the dictionary. And there we are. Now let's take a look here at the synonyms. What is this supposed to be? You can either see recommended synonyms or all synonyms. Well, we'll try recommended first. How does this work? Maybe there aren't any. All right, let's try the summary. My rating was adequate. It could benefit from revision, and so. Okay, so yeah, I think perhaps Grammarly would be excellent when dealing with nonfiction if you aren't writing in the conversational style. I wonder how this treats it if we're in the creative style. 26 issues, 78 out of 100. If we review with the creative style, let's see how it works out. Once again, it's going through all of its stuff. We'll see what it does. I don't know if you can hear my dog whining in the background. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And we're almost done. 97 out of 100 when dealing in the creative style. Maybe that's what we should be using for for blog posts. So let's see. 3 issues. Subject-verb agreement. How do we get to this? Let's look at the summary. Waiting for the summary to come up. I'm not sure. Is it frozen? Yeah, I tell you what, it seems to have frozen. What happened? Well, we'll check if plagiarism. That button worked. Checking for plagiarism, we notice that there's no way to go back. Or is there? No, you're stuck while it's doing that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. What if we press the escape key? Nope, no good. While it's processing for plagiarism, it does nothing else. That's kind of a drag. I wonder how long it's going to take. Totally stuck. But we're going to pause, and then we'll come back. Okay, well, what I did is I just went ahead and used the back button on the browser to cancel the plagiarism check. Not happy with how long it took it to check such a short article, especially an article that is very well indexed in the search engines. It should have found that right away. Okay, so now let's try a fiction test. We're going to use The World Revolves Around You, which is a short story that I wrote. And again, I'm going to get a text version, plain text version of the story, and copy paste it in. Give it a second here. Let's make sure we get it. Come on. It's not letting me grab it. There we go. Interesting how the window has changed shape. So there we are. Doesn't want me to start the review. Perhaps we need to refresh this entire page. Let's see. So that's a little wonky. Okay. So there we are. The story is in there. We're going to start it on creative. Start the review. And same as we've seen all along, I'm very curious how it's going to handle dialogue and slang and things like that. But we're moving through. See how it goes. Almost there. Okay. 75 issues for a score of 81 out of 100. Again, here's this review for use of articles. The line is, like I said, she was grateful for the attention from a real man. I suppose she was grateful for attention from a real man would work, sure. So we'll let that one stand. I'm not going to, well, yeah, we'll correct it. So it takes the attention, corrects it to attention. That's actually, I'm a big fan of being concise, so I actually like that. It wants me to put an article in front of bitch. That one we have to ignore. And it doesn't like the end, which we're also going to ignore. Review the sentence for pronoun and verb agreement. They're concerned that the verb she does not agree with the verb few. Well, that's because that actually should be through. So she threw, pronoun and verb, those agree. That's a typo there. Pronoun usage. Once again, I knew it was only a matter of time before one of those bullets, and there were a lot of bullets, ended up dropping down on me like that asphalt. It seems like perhaps the use of phrases within phrases might confuse the program. So we're going to ignore that. The old who-whom problem. Now, the thing is, this is in dialogue, and not everybody uses who-whom properly. Oops, what happened to my... Did we lose it? Look at that. That's confusing to me. That's not it. It's confusing to me that that I just lost use of articles. Okay. Pronoun. Okay. That's a little confusing. So even here saying the whom should still be used in very formal writing. Well, this is not, so we're going to ignore that. I'm distracted and troubled by how we lost this hint box, and it was not very clear how to get it back. So that's kind of a ding. Review this sentence for adjective and adverb use. Women start off grateful for the attention, and then it gets all turned around, and they start thinking they can make demands. Yeah, I guess that could be a little confusing. So they don't offer a specific suggestion on how to fix this, but in more formal writing, I could see how that sentence would be screwy. Adverb placement, yeah, sure, really is not necessary to this sentence. That's really the first time I started paying attention to all you guys. You could certainly get away with saying that's the first time I started paying attention. But again, this is a piece of fiction. Most of the story is from the point of view of one of the characters. It's in his voice. So that's something we would ignore. Same here. I get near a car, it stops working pretty quick. It's the dialogue style of this character. Here's those squinting modifiers again. And yeah, we have to ignore that. Double negatives. Well, if I run into him, it'll be the first time, since we didn't go to no lecture. Well, guess what? That's, again, because this is how this character speaks. So we ignore that. She didn't want no beer. Well, again, that's how the character speaks. I ain't no sovereign. That's how the character speaks. Quantifier usage. Yeah, thumbs. The thing here is these are thumbtacks. Maybe that should be one word. I don't know. We'll see if they think it should be later on. But I'm going to ignore that. We're back to the threw the paper bag at me. She actually threw the paper bag at me. And it still thinks it's few. So we ignore that. Yeah, and you know, what I'm seeing here is it just doesn't get, and I wouldn't expect it to, honestly, it doesn't do well with the way human beings talk, which is messy and imperfect and full of colloquialisms and slang and incorrect grammar. So I don't think Grammarly is your best choice for doing a run through a piece of fiction. Yeah, it's just not it's just not doing well. It's just not finding, or I should say, it is finding things that that maybe in a perfect and strict sense are wrong, but in the context of a story, you don't want to fix these things. So, all right, we're going to just keep clicking through. Yeah. I'm afraid, yeah, Grammarly does rather fail when it comes to fiction, especially fiction that is written in the voice of a specific character. Let's just move through here. Yeah. Boy, yeah, Grammarly gave me a score of 81 out of 100 on this story. I have to give Grammarly a fail. Well, not a fail when it comes to fiction, but I just don't think it's well designed. And how could it be? You'd have to have a heck of an artificial intelligence for it to work with fiction. All right, so let's be done with that. Let's be done with that. It sure goes through and finds a lot of stuff, but you know, it's just not good. Not good for that. All right. So overall, the casual setting, or rather the creative setting for the blog post, seemed to work pretty darn well. And just to be thorough, very quickly, I'm going to go through and try this on my very latest blog post, just done not an hour and a half ago. And we're just going to do a plain copy paste. I'm going to stop this. Okay, there we are. Review changes, creative. I'm just going to blast through, give it one more chance on doing a blog post, checking that out. 21 issues found. It doesn't like my use of ellipses. Sure doesn't like that. Here's a good suggestion. I actually could. The sentence reads, "Interestingly, the month I was away from social media, a study from researchers at the universities of Michigan and Leuven made the news by concluding that," and then there's a quote, "I don't need that, so I will remove it." That's good advice. Same here. Even doesn't need to be in there. However, in this case, I'm leaving it because it's the way I write. It's my voice. And again, here's a situation where using ellipses and parentheses is kind of confusing things. Here, this is a typo that I'm actually going to fix as soon as I'm done with this. I find I'm doing mostly the same thing. That's a plain old typo. That extra "the" doesn't need to be in there. And again, that's something that a traditional grammar spell checker probably wouldn't catch. So that's good. But I'm going to say, looking at what I've seen here, well, first of all, obviously, Grammarly would not replace a human editor, a human eye. I'm not sure if it's worth paying for, to be honest, if you are a blogger, a fiction writer, or you do any kind of casual writing. I have very, very few opportunities to write in a formal, a business, an academic, a technical style. it may be that Grammarly is excellent for those forms of writing. But otherwise, I don't see it as being worth it, frankly. I just logged out because I want us to go back to the main page, and we're going to go down here and talk about brass tacks. All the way down at the bottom, you find pricing. I think this should be a little more upfront. 30 days for $30, basically, $29.95. Or you can pay every 3 months for $60, brings the price down to $20 a month. Or $140, brings it down to just short of $12 a month. For my purposes, and I'm going to advise you if you're a blogger, a casual writer, a fiction writer, for your purposes too, this probably is not worth it. If you are a technical writer, if English is not your native language, maybe it's worth it. But as neat as it is, and as clean as the site is, and frankly as cool as the people are at Grammarly, who I've interacted with on email, for my purposes, this tool is simply not worth the price. Even at the price, it just doesn't replace a human editor, who frankly is going to be much more expensive, but you get what you pay for. You need a human to do your editing, and Grammarly it doesn't seem like it can replace that. All right, well, there it is. Thanks for hanging out for all this time to come to that conclusion. I hope this was useful for you. Once again, we've reviewed Grammarly, calling itself the world's best grammar checker. I have to say that the world's best grammar checker is a human being. And this needs a lot more work before it can replace a human being. Now, to be fair, they don't claim to replace a human being. Their claim is that they correct up to 10 times more mistakes than popular word processors. And sure, that seems to be absolutely true. But is it worth the money they want you to spend per month? Probably not. You'll have to decide. If you do think it's worth it for you, then I hope you'll repay me for this in-depth review, this walkthrough, and use the link that you find accompanying this video right down below. That is an affiliate link, and I'll earn a little commission if you decide to pay for Grammarly. All right, that's it. My name is Matthew Wayne Selznick. I'm an author and creator, and you can find me at mattselznick.com, or of course, you can simply subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.